In this lesson we're going to look at creating our drum patterns for our dance music. As you can see, I've kind of gone ahead of time and I've done some bits and pieces and I've started building mine up. But I'm going to take it back down now just so you can kind of see how I got to this result. The important part of this is you can see that I'm starting to layer multiple tracks, okay? We've also got these little buttons here. Now this first one, this M, means mute. So if it's muted, it means it's not going to play anything, okay? The S means solo, which means it's only going to play this. Let's just go ahead and mute these tracks for now. Now, how do you create a new track? You've got a couple of things. In dance music, you'll sometimes find that tracks are doubled up, but they're doubled up at different octaves or different pitches, okay? So in that instance, you can use this duplicate track button. But if you just want to create a raw track, you can press this plus, which is just a new track. So let's press the plus. Now we have a few options. This is the same screen that we got presented with at the beginning. We're just going to create our drums using a software instrument, okay? So we're just going to select the software instrument and then press create. We can create multiple of these just by keep coming back to this and keep creating more tracks. We only need one. Now for this next bit, we're just going to set it up using an instrument called Ultrabeat. Now in Ultrabeat, it's just an effect. It's really awesome. So let me show you how to get to Ultrabeat. Now my instrument tab is here. Yours, if you're using Logic 9, is just down here, just a little bit further, okay? And what you need to do is just click and hold, and then you'll get this extra menu. Make sure you click and hold, and then scroll down until you find Ultrabeat, okay? So where is my Ultrabeat? Let's have a little look. And there it is there. You've got a few extra options. By default, if you just let go now, it will create a stereo track. Or you can come over here and create stereo for real. Okay? Now you get this lovely massive instrument. And this is basically a drum machine. And it's powerful. It's really, really awesome. Let's just start looking at some of the presets. So where it says factory default, if we turn it on now and we press the play button, you'll hear the first pattern that's got loaded up. Okay, and that's awesome, and you can see there's loads of potential there. We're going to keep this basic, and we're just going to come down and we're going to find a drum kit. Now it's up to you which drum kit you use. The one that I'm going to use for my dance track is this 909. Now the 909 was a really famous drum machine in the 1980s, and it's still being used a lot today in hip hop. So we're just going to use this Boutique 909. And it sets up all my channels for me. I don't need to worry about this. The bit that I want to look at is where we create the patterns. Now if you come to the bottom right hand side, you'll see where it says full view. If you click on this, you'll get the pattern editor. Okay, if we press play again now, you'll see it go through the patterns. And now just keep looping that. And if you like that, that's fantastic. But this is more powerful than that. On the lower left hand side, we have this button here, and if we click on that, anywhere where there's an SQ means there's a sequence already pre-programmed. Okay, where there's not an SQ, it means you can program your own sequence. So let's just try one more sequence and see what we think. Okay, a bit naff. Let's try another one. And so on. You can keep going through that. Now if you decide to yourself, hey, I want to use that, that's brilliant, you've got this little button here, and what you need to do is just click and drag this to your Boutique 9, and you can drop it on the timeline where you want it. Let me just close this for a sec. Once you've got it there, you can move it around and put it at the place you want to put it. So if you want it at bar 1, you can do that. If you want it to loop more than 2 bars, you've got these lovely handles. So where it turns to a circle, that means loop. And you can drag that out for as long as you want it to, okay? On the bottom handle, you get this square bracket. Now this is not a loop. This just opens the container to some free space, okay? We don't really need that at the moment. We're just going to loop it, okay? There is one issue. If I press play now, when I get to the end here, you'll notice that this drum loop keeps playing. Let me just show you. Okay, and the reason for this, I just press my space bar just to stop, and I can press my space bar again if I want to start, okay? And the reason for this is we come back to the Ultrabeat, I double clicking, is because of this this kind of on button, and that's basically telling us if we're playing in the actual arrange window, which is this area here, and we've got this button on, it's going to play both the arrange window and it's going to play this sequencing window in time with itself. So if we don't want to hear that, we have to turn it off, okay? So now let's come back and we'll press play again, and then it stops, as you can see, and then we can use our loop to kind of make it longer. If we don't like that, we just select it and then press the delete on our keyboard and it's gone. Let's double click on our Ultra B again. Now let's create our own sequence. So come down to this bottom region here, scroll all the way to the bottom where it says number 16, or depending on what patch you're using, it could be different. And I thoroughly recommend that you experiment with all of these different drum kits. There's absolutely hundreds of them, just to kind of have a little look through, okay? Click on this one, go down to where it says sequence or 16, no sequence, and then we get a clean canvas. We're going to turn our sequencer on again and we're going to press play. And you can see the playhead moving through, and we're just going to add some. So we start with a 4 to the floor. A lot of house music has this kind of 4 to the floor pattern, okay? Where on each beat you have a thudding bass drum, okay? Okay. So already we've got this really nice pumping bass drum. One thing I did ahead of time is I changed the tempo. Logic by default, if I double click on this and press 120, Logic by default is set up at 120. But for a dance track, we're going to want the metronome a lot faster than that, or the tempo of our track a lot faster. 130, 140, 145 are all good house tracks, okay? So I'm just going to set mine at 130. Press play here. And this is mimicking this 130, okay? Now we can come up and we can have a look at creating more of a pattern. So let's just add a snare on this offbeat. And this is a 2-bar pattern. We've got this nice closed hi-hat and we'll just drag it out. And that's a nice technique. If you click and drag, you can create or delete really, really quickly. And let's just get rid of these. And we're just creating patterns, nothing complex. Have some open hi-hat. Where are you? Pedal, floor tom, open. Okay, let's just press stop and let's just drag that into our sequence again, and we're going to turn the sequencer off so it doesn't play at the same time. We're going to use this button here and we're just going to drag it onto our sequencer. Now your mission now is just to kind of work out where you want it to start. Now I like to build my house tracks up. That's why when you see mine here, it actually doesn't start until after the intro. So I've got this nice arpeggiated pattern coming in, and then it goes into my first drum track, and then this might go on. I'm probably going to have that a little bit longer, so let's have it to there. And we can decide how we want this to be arranged and how we want this to be built up. It doesn't matter. So another thing that you can do is if you want 2 different sections, rather than keep dragging this out, if you say for yourself, okay, I want it here, but I also want it here, what you can do is if you click on this container and then press your Alt key and then click and drag, so Alt, click and drag, and then drop your mouse button, you'll see that we have 2. Let me just show you that one again. So click, so Alt, click and drag, drop with your mouse button. Okay, and then you can let go of the Alt button. And this is a really nice technique if you want to make changes or if you want gaps in the middle. Okay, that's pretty much it. So get your first drum pattern down and we'll have a look at some more rhythmic technique in the next video.